Midnight and my death are only a few hours away when I get my first surprise in 18 months.
Capital punishment makes for some pretty crazy big screen moments. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 execution scenes in movies. For this list, we're taking a look at memorable moments and scenes in which a character or characters are executed for whatever reason on the big screen.
I must have good and legal proof that you have confessed to witchcraft, Proctor.
You're the High Court, your word is good enough.
Since we'll be discussing the plot details of these films, we're throwing out a spoiler alert.
Do you want a blindfold?
Number 10, Matthew Poncelet, Dead Man Walking.
Do you have any last words, Poncelet?
Yes, I do.
Based on a true story, this crime drama that follows the relationship between a death row inmate convicted of murder and a nun in the closing days of his life is truly affecting.
Show some respect.
Oh, I shall respect you because you're a nun, you with that little cross around your neck.
Because I'm a person. Every person deserves respect.
Though he adopts an arrogant attitude and continues to proclaim his innocence, Sister Helen Prejean manages to break through Matthew Poncelet's facade, while also becoming familiar with the families of the victims he left in his wake.
Because I never had no real love myself. Never loved a woman or anybody else myself much good. Well, figures I'd have to die to find love.
He ultimately admits to his true role in the crime and asks for forgiveness.
I think killing is wrong, no matter who does it, whether it's me or y'all or your government.
Knowing that the man is about to die, combined with the fact that we see the victims' families and the nun shepherd him to his end, this death scene is lent true gravity and an intense emotional impact. Number 9, Marv, Sin City.
I love hitmen. No matter what you do to them, you don't feel bad.
Despite all the stone-cold killers and military leaders on this list, we'd argue that no character that made the cut is more badass than Marv, the man from Sin City.
They fixed me a pretty decent steak for my last meal. They even throw in a brew. It's the first I've had since back at Nancy's.
When a woman who showed him some kindness is killed,
She was murdered and I was right here when it happened, lying next to her.
and he's set up to take the fall, Marv unleashes his fists and takes the lives of those responsible, all with a grin on his face.
Then it hits me like a kick in the nuts. What if I'm wrong? I've got a condition. I get confused sometimes.
When he finds himself taking a seat in the electric chair, after the first shock flows through him, he spits out blood and growls,
That's the best you can do, you pansies.
His survival of the attempt and the mockery are certainly unexpected and make his eventual death all the more unforgettable.
He's gone.
Number 8, Dick Hickock and Perry Smith in Cold Blood.
This is a warrant from the Supreme Court of the state of Kansas.
When two men break into a home to rob it, but instead end up killing the family of 4 that resides there, they sealed their fate on the gallows.
They never hurt me, they just happened to be there. I thought Mr. Clutter was a very nice gentleman. I thought so right up to the time I cut his throat.
After being arrested and tried, they end up turning on each other, but neither is able to delay their date with death. And one after the other, they find a noose around their necks.
Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil.
Is God in this place too?
Shot in stark black and white, In Cold Blood's performance by Robert Blake as a man destined to die and realizing there's nobody he can even apologize to ensured this film's place in history.
I like to apologize. But who to?
And this scene spot on our list. Number 7, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
Right to assembly. Suspended. Right to habeas corpus. suspended.
When you think of a movie inspired by a Disney theme park ride, you probably wouldn't expect it to begin with a series of executions.
By decree, all persons found guilty of piracy, or aiding a person convicted of piracy, or associating with a person convicted of piracy, shall be sentenced to hang by the neck until dead.
Nevertheless, when the third film in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise was released, families who made their way to theaters were almost instantaneously greeted by a literal line of men, women, and children awaiting their demise.
The king and his men stole the queen from her bed.
The scene was made all the more real when the filmmaker showed us a child having his neck put in a noose and standing on a barrel, and confirmed that at World's End wasn't going to be pulling any punches.
They've started to sing, so... finally.
Number 6. Corporal Philippe Paris, Private Maurice Ferol, and Private Pierre Arnaud, Paths of Glory.
Gentlemen of the court, there are times when I'm ashamed to be a member of the human race, and this is one such occasion.
Directed by the master Stanley Kubrick, this film tells the haunting tale of 3 soldiers who are court-martialed and ultimately sent to their deaths for cowardice.
What do I have the time for?
We do not question the will of God, my son.
Whether the men are logical or disloyal for refusing to take part in a suicide mission that had already killed many soldiers is left up to the viewer. But there's no denying that the soldiers' predicament is something we can sympathize with.
Having been found guilty of cowardice in the face of the enemy, are to be executed by rifle fire immediately, in accordance with the judgment of the military court-martial.
And when the time comes for them to face down a firing squad, we're absolutely heartbroken to witness a grown man sobbing about never seeing his loved ones again.
Help, man, race.
And it's definitely a moment we won't soon forget.
Ready? Aim! Fire!
Number 5. Amon Goeth, Schindler's List.
Pardon you.
One of the most powerful aspects of Schindler's List is its depiction of the crimes of the Nazis.
Bitte ab! Namen verlesen!
Wer aufgerufen wird, hebt seine Hand! Ein deutliches Jawohl!
When concentration camp commandant Amon Goeth kills one of the imprisoned people, he does it with a nonchalance that leaves us aghast.
It will take more than that.
I'm sure you're right.
He's an evil man who sees the men, women, and children under his thumb as nothing more than cattle. When his own death is shown in this epic historical period drama, it mirrors the way he killed. With a noose placed around his neck, Goeth takes a minute to fix his hair before the stool he stands on is kicked out from under him.
Heil Hitler.
And he's left without any more dignity than he afforded his victims.
This is really cruel, Oscar. You're giving them hope. You shouldn't do that.
Number 4. Jeanne d'Arc, The Passion of Joan of Arc. Most of us know the story of Joan of Arc, who was a young woman that managed to gain military might in France during the 1400s, but was ultimately put to death. An amazing tale to be sure, and one that's been told on film multiple times. There's arguably no account more compelling than this 1928 silent film. The black and white film ends with the titular character being burned at the stake. And though we never see the flames touch her flesh, we don't need to. The filmmaker's juxtaposition of the wood that's aflame and the pained visage of the actress playing Jeanne are powerful enough to cement the scene in our minds for a long time to come. Number 3. Jesus Christ, The Passion of the Christ.
Mentre ficere volunt, cur, quid fecisti? Rexes tu?
Regnum meum non este hoc mundo.
This might be one of the longest execution scenes ever put on film, if you consider that the torture, humiliation, and crucifixion that were all a part of it take up nearly the entirety of the epic biblical drama.
Ilathil komara hem haki hita. Hitha hivo denale dena. Kokavel dna faithlicom.
Following the last 12 hours of the life of Jesus Christ, we bear witness to the man absorbing more punishment than anyone should ever have to endure. Meanwhile, blood pours out of his wounds in such a grisly manner that viewers are never allowed a moment of respite. When Christ is finally placed on the crucifix and raised into the sky, we're almost relieved for him. Despite how terrible a death that is, as his previous suffering really seemed to know no bounds. Number 2, John Coffey, The Green Mile.
Does it hurt yet? I hope it does. I hope it hurts like hell.
Innocent of the crimes that sent him to death row, John Coffey is a gentle giant with a harmless nature and amazing abilities, and a man who touches the souls of those he meets.
You can't have what's in your heart.
What? You saw what?
Take my hand, boss. You see for yourself.
Although we feared for Dell, who we had to watch die in agony as his body breaks out in flame during his execution by electric chair, when the time came, Coffey embraced his fate in a way that really stayed with us.
Mostly I'm tired of people being ugly to each other. I'm tired of all the pain I feel in here in the world every day. There's too much of it. It's like pieces of glass in my head all the time. Can you understand?
Seemingly more afraid of the dark than death, Coffey tearfully requests not to have his head covered.
Don't put that thing over my face. Don't put me in the dark. I was afraid of the dark.
And before long, his heart beats no more. If your eyes don't well up when he finally leaves this world, we just don't get it. Or you. Before we reveal our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever.
God is restored.
Ready! Aim! Long live sacred Germany!
Take her out. What the hell is going on? I don't know.
Do you have anything to say?
Number 1, William Wallace, Braveheart.
I'm so afraid.
A 13th century Scotsman who stood up against the tyranny of English rule over his homeland seems like the perfect story on which to base a movie.
I want a home and children and peace.
Do you?
I do. I've asked God for those things. It's all for nothing if you don't have freedom.
Mel Gibson took that very story and made Braveheart, a straight-up fantastic film about rebellion, national pride, and enduring love.
Now behold the awful prize of treason.
It also features one of the best climaxes in movie history, in which William Wallace is publicly tortured in an effort to make him accept English rule. And it's something he fights with and until his dying breath.
Pleasant, yes? Rise to your knees. Kiss the royal emblem on my cloak, and you will feel no more.
When he screams his last word at the top of his lungs, we are left tingling with adrenaline and admiration. Now that is one hell of a scene. Do you agree with our list?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite execution scene in film? For more deadly top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
You go on kill that raping baby killer twice.